Hi everybody, I'm Missy from the blog and YouTube channel Rambling Rose Farmhouse, and I'm happy to have you joining me here today. Today I'm making a video with a few of my other YouTube friends that also have similar channels to mine. So the video that we're doing is homestead hacks, but I don't want you to feel like you have to be a homesteader to benefit from this, because like the hack that I'm giving you has to do with a garden. So even if you just have a small garden in your yard or even just some plants in pots, this might be helpful for you. So even if you're not a homesteader, go ahead and watch the video and see what the tips that the other people are giving you are too. And they will tell you what their channel is in their video, but I'm also going to list everybody's channels in the description box so that you can go over and visit their channels after you watch this video.
Hey, I'm Kelsey, your best friend on the homestead from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, and today I'm really excited to share with you my favorite homestead hack probably ever, and that is uses for old vinegar bottles. Now, I go through these vinegar jugs like crazy. I do a lot of canning. You can use vinegar for a lot of things. I use it as sort of the rinse aid in my dishwasher. I use it as a softener, a fabric softener in my laundry, and I also use it, I'm working on right now a blog post and YouTube video about how to fix up rusty cast iron using vinegar. So that's actually where I used this vinegar bottle. Was I wasted away the whole thing, not wasted, but really used this whole bottle to clean up some rusty vinegar I got from an Amish auction, which is really fun. So let me show you real quick the ways I like to use these big old jugs on the homestead. Now, probably the number one way I like to use these is you take your jug, quite simply, this one's looking a little rough, you slice the bottom off. The screw top ones stay on pretty nice, so you wouldn't really need to add anything extra if it's like a pop-off top type of one. I like to use little hot glue, and these make absolutely perfect feed scoops. They're really durable, so they go into the feed like without bending, and then they hold a nice chunk of feed. We've got laying hens, I've got milk cows, and I use these. This is the only feed scoop I ever use anymore. It works just as well, if not better, than a feed scoop that you would buy at the store. So really simple to do. You can cut through it even with like a steak knife from your kitchen. Keep that top on, you're good to go. Now also, another thing you can do, again, you cut the bottom off if you're filling bird feeders. This works really nice to fill bird feeders. In that case, you don't want to glue this on, obviously, because you're going to be scooping up your bird feed and then you're going to take the top off and fill your bird feeders with it. Works awesome. And again, why pay for a bird feed scoop when you can just use your old vinegar jug? Last thing I use this for on the homestead is pretty simple. I learned this. I worked at a grass-based cow dairy, diversified cow dairy. We had laying hens and hogs on pasture and also cows, obviously. And we used this though because the chickens would always get on top of the waterers and poop in the water, and it made us crazy. And this worked for that too. Here, I'll show you. So obviously this hack only works if you have this style waterer. I'm currently not using this one at the moment, but very simply, again, you cut your bottom off, set that on top, and the chicken has nowhere to roost. So it looks kind of goofy, but it works really well. Now, the last way that I have seen people use these vinegar jugs on the homestead is for doing winter seed sowing. Now, that's not something I do because it involves storing a bunch of those containers, and then you cut them kind of towards more like the top of the bottle, fill it with dirt, you sow a bunch of seeds, and you can start your seeds outside in those bottles. And you don't have to water them or anything. They just kind of do their own thing. It's like a self-contained little greenhouse. I have not done that, mostly because I don't want to deal with a bunch of those bottles sitting around, but a lot of people swear by it and say it works really, really well, so that's something you might want to look into too. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out my homestead hack. I hope it works well for you, and I hope you'll swing by and visit over at my channel, Rough and Tumble Farmhouse.
Hello, welcome to my homestead. I am Amber from 1898 Mama, and today my homestead hacks are going to be all about things you can do in the kitchen. The first hack I have is brown sugar. I do not have any brown sugar on hand, so I'm going to make mine. You're going to start with 1 cup of sugar and 1 to 2 tablespoons of molasses, 2 tablespoons for dark, 1 tablespoon for light. I pretty much always do 1.5 tablespoons. Unless the recipe calls for a specific one. And then you just turn on your mixer and you let it do its thing. And then after a few minutes, maybe about 4 or 5 minutes, you're gonna check it. There is gonna be some molasses chunks in there, depending on how good your mixer is. You're just gonna mix those up real quick with a spatula or a fork, and then turn on the mixer again for another minute or so. While my brown sugar is mixing, I actually like to do other tasks to multitask. Here I am just removing the cream from the raw milk, and we're actually going to use the cream for our next Homestead hack, which is an alternative to store-bought coffee creamer. It is amazing. Unfortunately, I did not apparently push record when I dumped the brown sugar in. So when I started, I just put the tiniest amount of water into the bottom of the pan and then started boiling it. And then I added 1 cup of the brown sugar that we just made, and I brought that to basically a rolling boil. And then I turn off the burner. After that, I add my heavy cream, which you see me doing here, and then mix that up a little bit. And after that, I add a cup of whole raw milk. Now you can, if you don't have access to raw milk, you can use store-bought heavy cream and store-bought milk. And then I just add some salt and some homemade vanilla extract. Obviously, if you don't have homemade, you can also do store-bought. You can customize this recipe however you like your creamer, and it is 100% always delicious. If you want cinnamon added, I've even tried cake batter extract, and it was so good. And I'm just using the same funnel that I use with the cream because less dishes. My next Homestead kitchen hack has to do with onions. Now when we cut onions, we have got all of this extra junk. Don't throw it away. Don't even compost it. You're gonna keep all of these skins and put them in a Ziploc bag. Now you have 2 options after you have got all of these onion peels. 1, you can make stock. Just throw these in when it's time to make broth. Your next option is to make onion powder. All you're gonna do is dehydrate these. Whether you have a dehydrator or you do it in your oven, you're gonna dehydrate these till there's nothing left to them, and then they're gonna be really crumbly, and you're gonna put them in a food processor or a blender, and you are gonna get awesome homemade onion powder. When I tell you it does not even compare to store-bought, I'm not lying. I can't even, who knew that onion powder was a thing? And this all comes from stuff that I would have just thrown away, thrown in the compost. Save yourself some money and add even more flavor than you thought possible to your foods. Another thing that you can also do that with is carrot tops. Instead of throwing away your carrot tops or putting it in the compost, same thing, you just dehydrate them, and then if you want to turn it into a powder, you would put it in a food processor or a blender. I actually just add this to like soups and stews. Carrot tops don't get wasted. This is what it looks like when it's blended. Thanks so much for hanging out with me in the kitchen today. I hope you'll check out my channel, 1898 Mama, and I hope that all of these homestead hacks really help you out.
Today I have a hack for you that will be helpful to you whether you live on a homestead or not, as long as you raise a garden. One of the most popular things for people to raise in a garden is tomatoes. And so my hack that I'm going to give you today, or my little tip, is how to create your own tomato plants from a tomato plant that you already have. So it would be really helpful to you if, say, you planted your tomatoes and maybe some of them died, they didn't do good, but you had a couple that were good. You can take this and you can take those tomato plants and create an endless number of more tomato plants. Or maybe like me, you start your plants from seeds and sometimes they don't do as well as they do other years. Like this year I had a lot that they got up this high and then they never grew from there. It was really kind of crazy. I have no idea why they did that. But the ability to take a tomato plant that you have that's doing good and make more plants from it for free, it doesn't cost you anything and it's super easy. So that's why I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, the one thing I would say, the precaution for this is you need to use a healthy tomato plant. So you can't wait until your tomato plants are sick and dying, because at that point you're just going to create another diseased tomato plant if you do this. So they have to be healthy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it. Okay, so we're going to be looking for suckers on the tomato plant. And I'm going to show you what that is. This is a really good size one right here. Let me see if I can get this out of here. But you see this is the normal branch. This is the main stem and this is the normal branch. And this is the sucker. It's coming out right in between it. Let me see if I can find a smaller one. See, here's a tiny one. There's a tiny one right there. And that's what that big thing started out like. So if you don't want suckers, you just want to pull these off when they're little like that. The suckers will make tomatoes, but they also sometimes make your bush too bushy. So what we're going to do is we're going to find one like this. and just pinch it off, just like this. That'll heal. And then this part right here, the only thing we have to do with this is stick it in water and it'll make roots. Tomatoes love to make roots. See all those little, I don't know if you can see this, all those little hairy parts? This will make roots really quick, and then we can take it and plant it in the garden and you'll have another tomato plant exactly like the one that it came off of. So that's my hack. It's really easy to do. See, here's another tiny little sucker right there. Look, here's another bigger one. I'll get this one because this one will be a good size. So I'm going to go ahead and get a few of these off of my plants so that I can go put them in water and make some new tomato plants. If you have any questions, be sure and leave a comment and I'll try to answer your questions. You'll have to do that on my channel because I won't see the questions on anybody else's channel, but I'll try to answer your questions for you. So. Okay, so I hope this little hack will be helpful to you. And if you want to follow up, you can check on my channel in a few weeks and I should have the video showing the roots.
Hi guys, I am Deanne from Hummingbird Acres, and here at the farmhouse we believe in simplifying, thriving, and homesteading, and I am so excited that you are here on this adventure with us. Today I'm going to share my #1 hack for getting everything done on the homestead and making sure nothing falls through the cracks. My first tip for getting everything done on the homestead is to make sure that you are keeping a growth mindset and you're keeping a positive mindset. So it is always good to know and always good to remember that building a homestead takes time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It is a process, and it is definitely a process that's going to have its ups and its downs. And the more that you know that and the more that you keep that in mind, the more that you're going to be able to stay positive when things get tough and when things get hard. So a great way to stay on track and to keep a positive mindset is to really take the time and sit down and map out your goals. What are your goals for your homestead? So you want to map them out, create a 5-year plan that has all of your goals that you want for your homestead, and then break that down into smaller chunks. What do you want to accomplish this year? What do you want to accomplish this month? What do I need to do this week in order to meet your monthly goal? By doing this, you're taking your big goal, you're breaking it down into smaller steps that are more attainable, so you're not going to get overwhelmed and you're going to be able to reach your homestead dreams. Now, this can be really hard with social media and YouTube and our online world because there is so much out there and you are probably going to be very tempted by the bright, shiny objects and what everyone else on social media is doing. But that might not be right for you. Really sit down, think about your goals, what do you want to accomplish, and work towards those goals, and don't get distracted. So that is my first tip for you for making sure that you get everything done. Keep a positive mindset and set goals that are achievable and work towards those goals. The next tip I have for you is time blocking. Now, time blocking was a game changer for me when I actually learned what it was and I put it into practice. So what time blocking is you're going to take your entire day. I normally do 5 a.m. to about 10 p.m. at night. And in your planner, you're going to put every hour is a line. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I go down in a column. And I'll show you mine in a minute. So then I can plan every hour of my day to make sure that I am using every available minute within reason and I'm accomplishing my goals. So I have no excuse of I don't have time or oh, the day got away from me, I got nothing accomplished. I have my list of goals, my action steps for those goals, what I need to do, and I can fit them in to my day to hold myself accountable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys inside of my planner what it looks like, and I'm going to have you plan a week with me so that you can see how we get everything done. This is a week in my planner. So the first thing I do is put in the dates. So next week is going to be the 20th through the 26th. My planner, my weeks always start on Monday. So 20, 21, 22. From there, I'm going to look at our shared family calendar, and I am going to write down all of our prior commitments that we have for the week. So now that I have all of my prior commitments in there, I am going to write down all of the weekly chores that have to be done no matter what. So after I have all of our like must-dos for the week, then I will go in and start looking at what are our homestead goals and what things can I knock off of that list to reach those goals. So I keep all of our homestead goals and all of that on my phone in a Google Doc so that Jamie and I can both reference them. And then the goal is listed and broken down into action steps. So then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start plugging in some of those action steps for us to get those things done. I'm going to write weekly goal is to plant the garden. So my goal for Saturday, and I'm going to spend a big chunk of my time planting the garden. That is my big goal for while we are down there. And then I also need to work on the orchard. So that will probably be my Sunday goal, is planting. Now, all of these fall back into our big goal, our big homestead goals. One of our big homestead goals is to have a thriving orchard. Another big goal for our homestead is to have a big garden, a thriving garden. And we have started to put that garden in, and I am working towards that goal here. So time blocking has really let me see where all of my time is going, where I'm focusing a lot of my time, and then where I can fit in little things at a time to make sure everything gets done. I want to give you one more tip while you're time blocking. When you first get started with time blocking and really thinking about how long a task is going to take you, always add an extra 30 minutes or sometimes even an extra hour, because things will always take a little bit longer. Once you get into the rhythm of time blocking and thinking about your day in hour chunks, you'll get really good at, oh, this is only going to take me an hour. Oh, this is only going to take me 30 minutes. But give yourself some grace so you can get into that rhythm. But like I said, time blocking has really changed our homestead and my ability to get everything done in a day that I need to get done. Now, does priorities change sometimes? Of course. Sometimes a gate breaks or I have to run an emergency errand, and that is fine. I always leave a little bit of extra time in my week so that I can shift things around and make sure I get everything accomplished. So I hope you guys enjoyed my homesteading hack, how you can get everything done. If you want to see more of our homestead, head on over to Hummingbird Acres, and we will see you guys.
Hey friends, it's Barbara Sue at Kowalski Mountain. Now here at Kowalski Mountain, we are living completely off-grid. We use solar for electricity, and we currently haul our water in with an ultimate goal of using rainwater harvesting to supply all the water on the farm. Now my homesteading hack is about having off-grid water anywhere on the farm, and it starts right here at our main water system. Now this is a sure flow pump, and it's used primarily in RVs to pump water. Now we've hooked up this pump to a pressure tank that supplies all of our water right here in our off-grid RV. Now this water system is powered by solar power, but we've taken this homesteading hack all over the farm, and we can have water anywhere we want it. Let me show you. Now out here at our cattle paddock for our Dexter cows, we have a separate water system exclusively for our animals. It starts with a Sure Flow pump that's hooked up to a regular automobile battery. Now this system also has an independent tank that we bring water in for our cows from our creek. Now to use this system remotely, it's super simple. We hook it up to the battery. We turn on the pump. And I've got water to water my cows. Now you can buy pumps in different amounts of water pressure, and we have about a 5.5 gallons per minute that we can pump and water our cows. Now with just a Sure Flow pump and a battery and a water tank, we can take water any place on the farm that we need it. At the garden, at our bathhouse, we even take it around and water our fruit trees. And that way we can have flowing water anywhere we need it on the homestead. Now we'd love you to become a part of the Kowalski Mountain family and join us as we build this off-grid homestead. We raise and milk Dexter cattle, we keep bees on the farm, and we also raise chickens and pigs for meat. Not to mention we have an 8,000 square foot garden that we're raising food not only for ourselves but also for our animals. So be sure to check out the link below to subscribe and follow us at Kowalski Mountain. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you learned some things that are going to be helpful to you. If you did, I would ask that you would please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate all of you who watch my channel and support my small business. So thank you for that. And be sure and check out the other YouTubers. Their channels are listed in the description below.